All right, we're live. Welcome to Marketing Unleashed, everyone. I am joined today by Bill Betts out of Kent, England, UK. It's nighttime there, I guess. We're afternoon here. How's your day going?
Yeah, good. It's coming up to dinner time, so that's why the dogs are barking. They're hungry, but
Yeah,
my boy will sort all that out.
awesome. Yeah, glad you got help over there. So, for those of you who don't know who Bill is, just give us a quick introduction about who you are, what you do in the grooming industry, things that you offer.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Bill. Hi, everyone. Bill Betts. I'm not a pet groomer. That's it's always important to say. But I live with a pet groomer. So my wife's been pet grooming since 2005. She was a veterinary nurse or vet technician. I don't know what you call it over in the States. I think it's that. And she set up her business whilst I was in the police. So for 18 years of my life, well, like professional life, I was a police officer whilst my wife ran the pet grooming business. But I got really interested, and I'm sure we'll go into it later. But I eventually left the police, and from what we learned from our business, now deliver business training to pet groomers. So help them to accelerate their businesses.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's funny how all the spouses get pulled into the grooming business somehow. I hear that all the time of just like the wife does the grooming and somehow the husband gets sucked in and becomes a
Yeah,
bather or helps with the business in general. So yeah, it's funny how that happens, but it happened to you. And
yeah.
that's quite a change, right? From going from the police to dog grooming.
It certainly is, and I can do a good bath. I can bath a good Labrador, but when my wife says to me, is the dog dry? And I go, yeah, the dog's dry. Is it really dry? That's the issue. I'm sure that's the issue that we all. I can never get them dry enough, whatever dry enough is. So I don't tend to go to the salon that much anymore. But yeah, when I tell people that I left the police, I left in March 2021. They all assume that I went into security or something like that. But a bit like when my wife said to me in 2005, I'm gonna retrain and become a dog groomer, and I was like, what's a dog groomer? You know, when I say to people I'm a business coach for pet groomers, they're like, "What? What do they do?"
Yeah.
Kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is very niche. But I think business in general is, and obviously you're in England and we've talked before, and you have clients around the world now.
Yeah,
It's growing quite a bit. And even though the laws and, different things that are very specific to a country, maybe like tipping, things like that, that's different. But as far as business in general goes, even outside of the dog grooming industry, there's a lot of fundamentals that
yeah,
kind of just are, up just for everybody, no matter where you are in the world with a dog grooming business. There are just certain things that you should be doing and ways that you can be, doing better. Having support in general, I think, is a huge thing, especially just being a lone entrepreneur with, like, especially if you don't have very much experience in business in general. But yeah, so I loved hearing that you have this community that you're growing, that you do this coaching, and really are helping dog grooming business owners, just succeed in their business, because so many are getting burnt out and just like not sure what to do.
yeah. And I think that's the biggest one of the biggest threads that I see when talking to pet groomers is or entrepreneurs or solo entrepreneurs, people that work by themselves, got their own business, is they feel they have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when especially in the UK, when they're doing their pet grooming qualification and training, there is often a module devoted to the business side of things, but it's a very small module. you know
Yeah.
the the pet grooming course is a very, like, over here quite often they're 30 days, and there's so much to cover. The business
Mm-hmm.
side of things is just like not neglected, that you get some basics, but there's not enough detail. And I think people
Yeah.
leave or have this idea that when they start their own business they have to do everything, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't get taught how to do everything, do we? you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Unless you were just one of those people that went to business school before you decided to become a dog groomer and like that was your thing. And then you were like, I'm going to go into business for dog grooming. It's very unlikely that you know everything about business. And, you know, even if you're, you know, kind of smart with business, there's so much to know.
Yeah, and I've even had people that have done business degrees and then they've gone out and run their own business, and they're like, they didn't teach us any of the practical side of like running a business. But even down to the very basics of putting your income and outgoings and writing it down. You know, I
Hmm.
love how you can do something so basic and it can really open up your business and make you see exactly what's going on just by a simple spreadsheet or using some kind of accounting software sort of thing.
Yeah, it's funny. We just literally had an accounting webinar this past Sunday because we are trying to do more and more business content. We've had people, our members, tell us that they want more business content, so we're working on, you know, adding that to the platform. And it's even just an accounting basics webinar where you're just covering like these are things you should know. We're not getting to. It still is like 2 hours of just going over the basics. So,
Yeah.
you know, like it's never ending and things are always changing, especially with accounting, right? That, I mean, you know, obviously, like I said, depends on what country and what the laws are, but at least here in the US, they're changing things constantly about how you can do your taxes properly and like what you can claim and you just, how do you stay up with stuff like that?
I mean, you think there's a bit of argument on pet grooming Facebook groups. You imagine what accounting Facebook groups must be like. Because, you know, laws, you know, coming
Yeah.
from a police background, when you look at law is like always open to interpretation. So
Hmm.
accountants will all have their own ideas of how to interpret that law until it's tested in court, which very
Hmm.
rarely is done. So imagine what their Facebook groups must be like.
Yeah, it is
And
somewhat
we've got to,
vague, right? You just, it's like, how do we interpret this law of, you know, of like fair and, you know, normal expenses for a business? Like what's normal for us is no, not normal for someone else. So it's, yeah, there's so many little caveats and things that you'll just never know you don't have the time. You're a business owner. You shouldn't be dealing with that, right?
no, that's it. Outsource it, push it away. You know, and what I find with a lot of pet groomers, they're very hands-on. Obviously, they're very hands-on people, and
Mm-hmm.
so maybe they just didn't listen when they did their maths lesson. You know, or they weren't, or they were completely turned off by maths, or they some of them say that they're number blind and they find it very overwhelming to deal with numbers. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
because their brain is very much like on the practical side of things and not on
Mm-hmm.
the sort of the boring maths and writing things down. So, in which case, you know, let's make some more money in your business and give that to someone else to do. Give that to a
Mm-hmm.
professional accountant that's done all the training, and let them just explain it to you every quarter or once, you know, once a month, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Not only that, you could mess it up and then like lose
Yeah.
money.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's
Done that.
scary. Yeah, you don't want to be doing it wrong and then you're like paying way more than you should or missing out on, you know, a bunch of money you could be making somehow. There's certain things you should be definitely having other people do for you. And one thing that we did talk about during the webinar is like, yeah, if you know, it can be expensive, you know, like
Mm,
outsourcing and doing those things. If you're like super new in business, right? You're like just getting started and you don't have the money for that, but at least have somebody like audit it before
yeah.
you know, before you like
Yeah.
go too far. You're like years down the line and you've been doing it wrong for this long. Just, you know, like do what you can, get it set up, or at least have somebody help you set it up so that you know at least the foundation is laid right and you know you're doing it at least the way it should be done and not how you think it should be done.
Yeah,
It's
especially if you're going to use things like QuickBooks or Sage or
mm-hmm.
Zero, you know. And I've been down that where I thought, well, I'll do that. I'll do that myself. It can't be that. It's a computer program. It can't be that hard. But I fell for all the TV adverts saying, you know, QuickBooks is easy. It's not.
Yeah.
And when you make a mistake here, and then you get to the end of your year, that mistake is like a very big mistake. So give it to the professionals. And I talk
Yeah.
about, you know, I talk about team members, and you might think team members are staff, but actually, team members within your business can be people like your accountant. And
Mm-hmm.
I go on to say, like, when I was in the police, I'd work with some management and I'd be referred to as a critical friend because of the training that I had. And it's no different. Your accountant is like your critical friend. So when you, hopefully, if you find an accountant that you get on well with and you can talk to, when you go to make big decisions within your business where it does affect the money side of things, these are the people you should be
Hmm.
turning to for that help and advice. They're your
Absolutely.
critical friend to your business.
Well, you're a critical friend to a lot of people being a business coach too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. I'm very good at selling other people's services, but yeah, when you need that second opinion and or you need to run those ideas, and I literally spoke to a pet groomer an hour ago. He said, I work on my own and I'm just so lonely. Although you got all those customers, you got all those dogs coming in, but she's like, I'm just very lonely. There's no one to talk to, no one to
Hmm.
talk about business, no one to share my ideas with, no one to sort of push me, sort of thing. So that's where again the coaches come into their own.
Yeah, that's a big problem being a solo entrepreneur is like that loneliness and not, not having people to bounce ideas off of or even just vent to about business stuff. The like the horrible clients that you have to deal with sometimes. People do find community, I think, on Facebook groups and things like that. So they're able to like connect in that way. But on that entrepreneurial level, where it's just a little bit different of something that you got to think about so many different things, and you're just kind of going through a lot with business. It's nice to
Yeah.
have a community that you can, or even just like you, a person, a coach to talk to, and not feel so alone. So yeah, like I said, I just love that idea of having that community and a place that you like. And so tell me a little bit about that. You do like group calls, and then there's like live webinars. You have a whole team of people because business, like you said, you get to outsource the different things. So there's specialists out there for branding and accounting and the different things like that. Go into a little bit more detail about what you offer as far as that coaching and how that all works.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, I started off doing sort of one-to-one coaching and helping people with very similar business to our business. And again, I was quite surprised at like how some of them really needed the fundamentals and
Yeah.
like here's a spreadsheet and your ins and outs and post on Facebook a bit more often and get your call to action like right and stuff like that. And it was just a weekly catch up and a bit of accountability and a bit of like, well, that person to say well done.
Yeah.
Because quite a lot of
Accountability.
people,
You said it. That's
yeah,
like really like going to the gym and needing a trainer to be accountable, somebody that's actually going to tell you what to do. Like people kind of know what to do, but you're really
yeah,
providing that. I love that accountability 100%.
yeah. So we'd set tasks, but I quickly realised that I can't. One-to-one work was quite intensive, and I kind of capped my business because I can only take on
Yeah.
so many clients. So, and I had a bit of a limiting belief, and I love the mindset side of things, and I have mentors myself. And I had a bit of a limiting belief about if I opened it up to sort of group coaching, so we had like one to many, would they get the same amount of value? Would they be able to learn the same amount? Would they get enough of me in a way on like and to help them? But my mentor very quickly turned around and said, "Well, actually, they get so much more value because we start to build that community that you've been talking about, and you
Hmm.
start to learn each other and." Sue might go and speak to Emma, and they don't need me because they can talk to each other and get their ideas. But we bring the same people with similar mindset and ambition together, it becomes really positive. So
Yeah.
it's a bit like fate. My mentor well, he wasn't my mentor at the time, but someone I knew put an email out saying, I'm looking for a few people to help them grow a group coaching program in
Sweet.
January 2022. And I was like, it's me. This is what I want to do. you know,
Nice.
I did do a coaching course just before that, which really unlocked it for me, which was all around mindset. Understanding fear, understanding confidence, lack of confidence, limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome. Because I believe like if I developed a program, and we all probably need to put our prices up, but
Yeah.
if we just sat there on a call like this and said, right, put your prices up, put your prices up, put your prices up, because obviously we know that that's needed quite a lot and it helps people. The fear, that sick feeling in the stomach, the lack of confidence, the inability to communicate to their customers, I wouldn't get the results that I get because they would just that feeling is so strong, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
of that path of least resistance is to keep your prices the same and just carry on.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel sick. I don't want my hands to shake. I don't want to be all pale and clammy
Yeah, it's
because my
scary.
body's like my
It's the
body's
unknown. Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh my god, are they? It just everyone's gonna quit on me. I'm gonna have no
yeah,
customers left." It's like
yeah,
all the worst case scenario things people, and they're usually like upping it maybe $5 or $10, right? Like
that's it.
it's not even some kind of drastic change where people would be like shocked by it. And then I see so many people post like, "Oh, I just raised my prices and I actually had people like somebody tell me, oh, it's about time." Or like,
yeah,
like you definitely deserve way more than that. And then, like it's like, oh wow, okay, like after all of that mental of
yeah.
freaking
Months.
yourself out over it, and then they end up like, oh, I should have did this a year ago.
I know. Or they're just about to do it and they go home and tell a partner or a parent and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Those other
oh, I
opinions.
wouldn't do I wouldn't do that. You're gonna lose all your customers and then you're like, I've just got rid of all this fear and now I was about to do it and now my partner's just like taken the legs from underneath me and I'm not gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Which we know, like we know that as pet groomers, if you're not charging high prices and you're allowing everyone into your business, you are going
Yeah,
to physically and mentally burn out. So, you know,
absolutely.
there was some. I've spoken to some. I spoke to a groomer the other day, and I could just see she was on the verge of tears because she was so burnt out by it, so
Oh,
overwhelmed by it. And it's so sad to see.
yeah.
And we sometimes have a little cry together, and the help is out there. But so I knew that this coaching course that I did all around mindset really unlocked that. And then the email came in. It's like fate. The email came in. So I signed up with this mentor, and he challenged me to get 10 customers and then build the program afterwards. And I kind of had a structure around
Nice.
it. So but like you said, I wanted it to be all encompassing. I didn't want it to just focus on one thing because I think there's so many facets to your business, isn't there? There's the accounting, there's the marketing, the you know dog grooming. That's the easy part for a lot of people.
Yeah, right.
you
I know
know,
how to do that. Like they're just
that's it.
like that's I can do that. Yeah, and then most people like get into business too. I see that they're just tired of working for other people. And
Yeah,
they're just like, I don't want to, I hate the way that these people run the salon, or maybe they worked at corporate or whatever the case may be. And they're just like, I'm just going to run my own business. Like I can do this, but they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. And then they get started and they're like, whoa,
yeah. How hard can it
what do I
be?
do? Yeah. It's like,
so
scary.
Yeah, so I found that a lot of the groomers had barriers around knowledge, lack of business knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
overwhelm, or mindset barriers. So we designed the program to help with all that. And I know that okay, if we want to raise our prices, then yeah, that's the thing to do. But alongside with raising our prices, we need to make sure our business looks good and is well branded.
100%.
So when we have good branding within our business, it gives us more confidence, it gives our customers more confidence, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no disconnect between, well, you're charging me like $80 for this, but you look like Walmart or whatever. I don't know. Walmart might be awesome in the US. I don't know,
Yeah.
but do you see that disconnect? There could be
Absolutely.
a
Well, that's
disconnect
my
between that.
wheelhouse. I'm in the branding, marketing side of
Mm,
things. So that's like, yeah, I'm right there with you on the look. You are getting judged. Don't judge a book by its cover does not apply in branding. You are getting judged 100% by your logo, by your website, even by your social media presence. You just have to really
mhm.
be completely aware of what you look like to others. And even if you like your logo, you might be blind to design. Like you might think
That's
it's
it.
cool, but then like everybody else is looking at it like, man, it looks like it was made in the 90s on, with a clip art or something. And it's just not and then you want to be that person that's, charging so much. You're this elegant and very spa-like experience. And then you, yeah, like you said, it's like some Walmart logo that, maybe you paid 99 cents for, and, that's what you're using now. It's not done correctly. It doesn't look good. And that reflects on you. Like you said,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
important. People
yeah.
just are a lot, I think, blind to it for the most part. And they need that other person to tell them. Cause yeah, like you said, you say, oh, hey mom, what do you think of my logo? Or they put it on Facebook and they, what do you guys think? Oh, everybody tells you it
Well,
looks amazing. It's so great. And then I see it and I'm like, oh, I can't,
these aren't for your.
though, yeah, they're your friend. They're not telling you the truth. Don't
They're
ask
not
your
your
friends for
customers.
advice. No, yeah, they're not your customers. They don't want to hurt your feelings. There's so many things there's so many reasons why you shouldn't be asking just the random people on the internet for advice on your brand.
But I get it. I get it. You're so busy trying to set up and make money because we've left our job or we've just paid for a lot of training. We need this business to work. So the
Mm-hmm.
priority for the business owner then is to make the money. So that's getting dogs to the door and grooming them, isn't it? So we're going to go in cheap. We're going to perhaps undercut the groomer down the road and try and steal some of the business. So when it comes to setting up a Facebook page, well, my dog looks cute laying on the grass. I'll just chuck a picture of my dog on the grass. I'm a dog groomer.
Yeah.
But like you said, they don't always understand that that's the shop window, isn't it? That's the shop
Mm-hmm.
window. So I'd rather a groomer put a lot of effort into the branding side of things first. The
Yeah.
money will come, and the money will be higher because. Well, actually, you won't look like a brand new dog groomer. You'll look like a professional business that
Yes.
means business, and your prices, you'll be more confident in your business, so your prices will be higher straight away.
And then you don't have to
You
worry
know,
about raising them later
no,
because you'll start
no,
out and you don't have to worry about all that stress. Cause yeah, you're gonna go into the market at that rate. And I do see a
yeah,
lot of people post about like, oh, this groomer just opened up down the road, and they screenshot like, their specials that they're putting out and that they're doing dogs for like $30. And they're like, I can't believe this. And they get so upset. And I'm like, why are you upset? They're gonna take all the customers you don't want. They're probably gonna get burnt out or go out of business very quickly. Like, what are you worried about really at the end of the day? If you're doing what you're doing and it's right and it's working for you, you shouldn't have to worry about your clients running over to the $30 groomer down the road. Like, that's also
yeah.
kind of I wouldn't want to go to a groomer that's charging $30. Like, what kind of credibility do you have? Like, do I feel safe leaving my dog with you?
Well,
As
that's it. Yeah,
that's not giving me the impression. I'd rather pay more and feel better about leaving my dog with you, knowing that, like I'm comfortable. You look professional. Like I feel just at ease than like the discount groomer.
yeah. That's it. That's it. So, yeah, I mean, so we to help with that, to help with the branding and that kind of mindset, we've got a branding mentor who works with the clients. But then to go with that, we've got the pricing mentor as well, Robin, who's also my personal mentor. And Robin, his business is the fearless. He's the fearless coach. So he loves pricing and packaging, and I wanted him on board because he's very geeky. He loves numbers. He loves and a lot of pet groomers run at 100%. And they're like booked up for a year, but he goes into the detail and is like, well, if you're running at 80%, you've then got room for this, that, and the other. And he puts the meat on the bones. He puts the detail on the maths, and breaks down your pricing. And we've got very good over the last few years of, you know, if I said to some of your audience, what do you want to earn? I reckon someone will come back and go, don't know. No, never thought of that. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know what I want to earn. So we're like, well, if you don't know what you want to earn, you're not going to get it. You're not going to be given
Yeah.
it. The
You got to
universe,
have a
the
goal.
universe is not giving it. If you turn around and said, right, I want to earn $80,000 a year, we'd be like, okay, let's find out how you do that, and we'd break that down into a daily target.
Yeah.
And then when we're looking at prices, well, what do your prices need to be to reach that daily target? I can't do the maths off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
but it's breaking it down like that. So Robin comes along and really puts the knowledge on the table and really helps people understanding the numbers, getting into the detail. Because when you run a business, you've got to know that detail. You've got to know that the day's work you've done is
Hmm.
paying what you want and what you need.
Yeah. I got to treat it like a business, not a hobby.
Yep, there you go. But
For hobbies, you're like, I'm going to spend as much money as I need to. And I don't really care if I make, I'm not making anything. Well, he's like, dog show people or the competitive groomers, they're spending way more than they're making. It's a hobby at the end of the day, unless they're really
yeah,
utilizing it to promote their business, in which, that's more of an advertisement. But yeah, that whole have a goal. I think that's like just general goal setting techniques, right? Is you got to
yeah.
start with the goal and then you work your way backwards. And, with this, as far as like timing goes, like when you want to get that goal done and how you're going to get it done, just like, yeah, it's like you said, fundamentals, the simple stuff, like set a
But
goal for how much
again,
you want to make.
yeah, again, this is really lost because you're so busy setting up your business, or you've been so busy in your business, and you're maxed out with clients. You don't have a time to breathe. So I did my
Mm-hmm.
quick maths. If you want to earn $80,000 a year, working 5 days a week, you've got to do
Mm-hmm.
around $342 a day. Which I know with American prices, that's pretty simple, isn't it? It's quite easy to do, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then you got to get into all the like your costs, your
Yeah,
operating
but
costs and things like that. But yeah, you got to have a baseline for sure.
yeah, $70 a dog. So when you start breaking that down for people, people are like, actually, that's not too bad. But they never think of it that way. They never look at it that way. So, but then Robin also comes in with some mindset around pricing. Enables people to understand their worth, helps them to how to speak to their clients and be the leader in their business and be the leader around sales and stuff like that. So that's where he comes into his own. Um, I kind of do the overall thing. I've learned from Robin. I've learned from all the other mentors and kind of help with the structure and the implementation of business and like the add-ons we do in the UK. We do a lot of ultrasonic teeth cleaning, which I don't think's really reached the States yet, if it's allowed at all. But like
Mm-mm.
the spa treatments, the teeth cleaning, cat grooming. There's so many dog groomers
Yeah.
that just think dog. Right. Haircut, 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 haircut. Dog, dog,
Mm-hmm.
dog, dog, dog. Christ, you add cats into the mix. My God.
Yeah.
Profit
It's a
is
different
really tough.
world, but it's definitely way more profitable. Like, there's
Yeah.
not as many cat groomers out there. So you're
No.
definitely like people will travel to get to you just because they don't really exist as much as the dog groomers. It's very hard to find a cat groomer, at least here. We don't
Yeah.
have too many.
And when you think about the skills that you have as a dog groomer, yes, they are transferable. Not all of them. You do have to
Mm-hmm.
go away and get some training around cats because they are a different beast, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But you still know how to use trimmers. You still know how to you still understand animals
Yeah.
and behavior and stuff like that. So, we look at taking a dog groomer from dog haircut all day long to dog haircut. Oh, spa treatment, dog haircut, oh, nail trim, dog haircut, teeth cleaning, and we start to broaden
Yeah.
their vision. Oh, cat grooming day, and
Mm-hmm.
people can, far more money doing a cat grooming day than they could do probably doing 5 or 6 dogs, sort of thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
we take someone with very sort of narrow vision around their services and start to broaden their horizons. And then that's where the community comes in because they see the community around them and they see what the other dog groomers are doing or pet groomers are doing. And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I thought of that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that. How do you do that sort of thing? And then we're off again with implementing a new service in our business, a new revenue stream.
Yeah, that's got to help with burnout too, because it's so monotonous after a while. Like you said, another dog, wash, dry, haircut. Like you're doing the
Yeah,
same thing over and over and over again. And yeah, I mean, and some people get different breeds. It's nice for, certain groomers, they'll get a breed standard and it's a little bit different. But for the most part, I'd say most groomers are just getting that doodle pet trim, some kind of curly coated pet trim or a drop coated pet trim. And they're all very similar, just the same thing over and over again. So yeah, even if it's just like you said, a spa treatment where it's something a little different, it's
hmm
not that same thing every single day, all day long. Mixing it up and doing new things will help you just kind of break out of that, like the monotony of doing the same thing every day. You got to mix it up.
That's it. That's it. And I'd like to think that we try and complement the veterinary world. The world in the
Mhm.
UK, they clash a little bit. They don't get on so well. But
No.
the vets in the UK are extremely busy. They're being sort of run out of town with corporate takeovers
Oh,
and
wow.
stuff. So there's a space there for pet groomers to really pick up the slack. And vets don't want to do nail trims. They just refer them to us. They don't want to do
Hmm.
ear plucking and stuff like that. They're like, go and see the groomer, go and see the groomer. So we can provide a better service. We can do the nail trim and save the customer a little bit of money, but we can also do really well ourselves out of that. So we're about becoming that complementary pet service as well, alongside the vets and helping them out, but also helping our business with extra revenue streams and breaking up the monotony.
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, and so much psychology involved, like you were saying, with the whole pricing structure and just like thinking about things differently and yeah, just there's so many ideas out there. Having that community to bounce things off of too is really nice.
Mm.
So you're telling me, so is that the whole team right there? Did we
No,
go everybody?
I
You got more?
just thought that there's more. There's
Oh
more.
gosh.
I actually have taken on one of my first one-to-one clients who also loves mindset, and she does NLP and had done similar courses to me. So she's become a mindset mentor, and she's fantastic at helping people with their boundaries. Now, I can see actually when we were quite young, knowing our values and our boundaries is quite hard. But as we grow and we do jobs and we meet people and stuff, we start to understand our values. We start to understand our boundaries. And when our customers really trample over our boundaries, like turn up late, turn up early, phone us an hour after dropping the dog off, asking if they're ready, no showing, they really start to trample on our boundaries or our values, like they turn up with matted dogs and they refuse to believe that like the pet groomer is the expert, because you are. The pet groomers are the
Mm-hmm.
expert. They've done the trading. They really sort of interfere with our values, and that can also really interfere with our mindset. So Louise is really good at helping groomers get on top of their boundaries, start to become the leader. You know, as a service-based industry, we're very much people pleasers. We want to make sure
Yeah.
people are happy, but again, that's no good for our mindset, and that part of the emotional burnout of the job, I think, is where customers really trample over our boundaries and values, and they give us neglected pets as well.
Yeah.
There's only so much we can do. So Louise is very good at helping people extract their boundaries, understand their values, and then communicate that to their customers, and get groomers to the point where they're like, no, you've turned up late once too many times. I'm not rebooking you. And saying, alongside Robin's like, you'll have another customer that's going to pay you more money. Louise is
Yeah.
saying, you can turn that customer away. It's okay. The community going, yeah, like, don't put up with it. Don't put up with it. And all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, we're turning groomers around from like people that maybe the customers kind of run their business for them or dictate what they do. Oh, I can only do a Saturday. Oh, okay, I'll book you in on a Saturday. And then like the other half's going, but we're going out Saturday, and you're like, you know, to
Yeah.
to
People
people that
let
run their
themselves get taken advantage of. They're like,
yeah,
I'll do whatever you want. I just want to keep a customer.
that's it. Actually, a lot of that does actually come down to numbers and not knowing the numbers, because they just think, well, I'll have that money and I'll have that money and that money. Whereas if you know
Mm-hmm.
your numbers and you're booking to your targets, you don't have to take on everyone on. But so we help people overcome and become stronger, like understand their boundaries and know that it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do big dogs, don't do big dogs. If you don't like how that customer talks to you, get rid of them. It's okay, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because then we can move on to our marketing side of things. Because if we're marketing our business well and we've got an influx of new business, an influx of new inquiries at a higher price, so we've probably
Mm-hmm.
stepped out of demographic into maybe a nicer demographic because we're charging a bit more money.
Yeah.
We can implement our boundaries right from the very beginning of that sales conversation. We're going to have better customers and we're going to have a better business.
Absolutely. It's amazing how you raise your prices and the quality of the clients
Yeah,
just increase along with it. It's like just at the same time, like you deal with the low priced stuff, and you're dealing with people that want a discount for multiple dogs, and like all the things that you just don't want to deal with go away as soon as you raise your prices, because it's just a different type of client. They understand the value. They understand, what you're bringing to. They do treat you as that, like you said, you're the expert. I'm coming to you because I don't know how to groom my dog, and so I'm gonna trust you in knowing the things that I should be, doing and not doing, and do it right. And yeah, that having that higher price makes you that expert. Like you're charging that much for a reason, because you are the expert.
Yeah, and we've had clients ourselves in our own business turn around to us and say, "I'm really pleased that you're expensive," because they see that as like a trust. They feel more
Mm-hmm.
valued. Like there's more value going into the groom, and obviously using the equipment that we want to and stuff. But they're pleased that we're more expensive. Some people are a bit shallow and they just want to say, "I've spent a lot of money on my dog." And I think there probably is a ceiling where you get to like very, very rich or very, very expensive people, and maybe they do become a bit of a pain in the bum as well. But there's probably a
Yeah.
bandwidth, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know if you've ever saw the video. It just popped into my head where Payless. I don't know if they have Payless shoes by you, but they're like the discount shoe store, super cheap stuff. They did a whole like fake store in the mall, and they used all their same Payless shoes that they would be selling, but they rebranded and made it look like Louis Vuitton style, like high end. They invited a bunch of like influencers in to try out this new brand. And they were all just like, oh, I would pay $300 for this shoe. No problem. Like they were asking them what they would pay for it. And it was just crazy to see that, like, yeah, these shoes go for like $20. And you're over here like, just because of the way that it looks, just your
Yeah,
branding, and
yeah,
where it's at, the store looked really nice. You're not walking into a garbage store that smells or has bad lighting or whatever. Just the decor is really nice. All of those branding elements were there, and people were willing to pay $300 for a $20 shoe and had no problem with it. And then they were like, oh my gosh, this is Payless. I would have never guessed that. But that's how strong branding and pricing is just for the mentality of the customer to realize, like, that's quality, like just based off of how it looks and the price of it.
yeah. And there might be listeners shouting at the screen now, going, "Yeah, but what about the dogs? What about the dogs?" And when we are earning the money that we really need and want, we have a
Mm-hmm.
better life. So our longevity in the industry is going to get longer. Our patients are going to be better. We're not going to
Mm-hmm.
burn out. We're going to get as angry with the dogs because they're distracting us or annoying, or the owners of like matted dogs. So then we can start taking on the charity dogs. We can,
Yeah.
you know, that gift then to be able to take on the dogs that people need, that need that grooming, and maybe people can't afford to look after. And but it doesn't bother us as much as a business owner, and it's taking that person that not personality, it's taking that personal sort of feelings out of it. You are trying to run a business, for you and your family and longevity. But when we're earning more money, we do have the options to then give back. I think
Yeah,
that's what I
absolutely. You
was.
can't pour from an empty cup, right? You got to take
No.
care of yourself and make sure you're happy. Or, yeah, like you said, you're going to burn out. You're going to be mad every day. You're not going to treat the dogs the same way that you're getting. So, yeah, I totally agree with that. That's important.
And
But
you
yeah,
can
you
only
are in
do.
business. Like people
Yeah.
forget that. Like it isn't a hobby. You are in a business. So these are things you have to think about. It's not greedy to want to, make sure that your bills are paid and that you are, happy and taking care of yourself. There's so much involved there, and people like tend to be like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to be greedy, but it's not greed.
I,
It's just business.
yeah. And I can tell you now, I don't believe that any pet groomer gets into the industry to do like 8 dogs a day, 5 days a week, coming home knackered, ignoring like being grumpy with the
Yeah.
kids, ignoring the other half, getting divorced. I don't believe that's the reason why people get into the pet industry. I think they want to get into the pet industry to help animals and to care for them, but you'll love your job and you'll care for the animals so much more when you are being rewarded properly for your time and your work. You know,
Yeah,
you'll
absolutely.
enjoy it so much more. Um, I'm talking about money. You talk about, how many coaches have we got on this program? Crikey! So, mindset, pricing, branding, myself, marketing. So we've got the lovely Zoe Carnes, who's a marketing expert. She works loads with Facebook, and she comes over. She's got mentors in the States actually. I love her story. I remember when I was in the police, I'd go and see her and listen to her talk about social media and how she harnessed it and created a job out of it in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But then we've also got a money coach as well, because how we grow up with money really affects our behavior as adults.
Hmm.
I think in the first 7 years, you have a lot of understanding of stuff, but you have no, well, no, you take it in, but you have no understanding of what you're being told. So I don't know if you want to go into your background, but I remember when I was a kid, my parents sitting around. My mum always tells me off about this story, but I remember sitting around the table or being in the dining room, kitchen table, and my parents sitting there, and the atmosphere was really heavy, and they were going over their checks, and they were looking at their bank statements, and I always felt there was a lot of tension there, and there was a lot of worry there. My mum will tell me now that no, that's just what we did, and it was fine. But for me, that's how I took it in. So I was very
Yeah.
fearful growing up and into my young adult life about credit cards, because my parents used a lot of credit cards, and they still do. They live off credit. But how we talk to about money as a young person really affects us. So there may be pet groomers listening to this that they just struggle to ask for more money because
Yeah.
their parents say to them, "Oh, that's expensive," or "Money doesn't grow on trees," or all those things that we were told as
Yeah.
kids when we were asking for toys and stuff. And that's going to really affect our business. So, because our business involves money, so I employed a money coach as well to start breaking down the barriers, understanding how we deal with money, understanding how we talk about money, budgeting, paying off debt, investing. Because I thought, well, if groomers are making more money, then they need to know how to use it effectively.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Half of what you do is like therapy, really.
Yes, it does feel like that sometimes.
All the psychology around pricing and money and just like dealing with clients and, not getting taken advantage of. And yeah, so much about just psychological and overcoming those fears and whatever stigmas you have. It's like, yeah, it's definitely like a whole therapy along with business coaching for sure.
Yeah, it's helping people to stand up for themselves, I suppose, and get what they want from their business in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
Yeah. And so you guys do, I mean, so there's a huge team, right? And how's it work? If I was to join your coaching program, what could I expect?
Yeah, so there's multi levels of support. So we have a platform hosted on Kajabi where I've put together some business lessons around. It's around the word groomer actually. So your growth mindset, your money, you're getting out there, marketing, all sorts of stuff like that. So you got some lessons to watch. We then got the live in person group Zoom calls. So we do that once a week or twice a week with me, and then the other mentors have different time slots that come in, and then support through Facebook, and then we've got a very interactive WhatsApp group, as you can imagine, with like 100 pet groomers chatting away, uh, and the topics. I mean, it's probably 98% female on the program, so some of the topics can get me a bit like, ooh, should I be reading this? But there's a lot of grooming chat going on, recommendations, equipment, and all sorts of stuff. So, it's a safe space for people to have a rant as well. We all need an
Yeah.
outlet, or I've got a golden doodle coming in a minute, and it's so many pounds. What would you recommend price wise? And you know, the community sort of picks everyone up really.
Yeah, it's nice having that on something a little bit more personal and quick and private than like a Facebook group where you don't know if you're going to get a response very quickly or.
Well, I want to do a podcast about this actually because it's very interesting, isn't it? And from getting mentorship myself, I've always thought what I'll do is I'll stick to the same sort of genre or the same kind of advice. So my first mentor was Alex, and then from Alex I met Robin, and then so Robin and Alex sort of gelled together. They have the same principles, values, so the advice is all very similar, or is on point. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
I kind of I was in a lot of pet grooming Facebook groups, and I've come out of a lot of them actually. But I run my own pet grooming group. I don't know if I can tell
Yeah.
people what
What's
it
that
is.
called? Yeah. I was going to ask you that. You got ahead of me.
uh, it's dog grooming business help and support.
Okay.
So I see a lot of questions come into there. Then when I was in the other groups, I'd see the same question go into that one, then into
Mm-hmm.
that one, then into
They
that one,
cross
then into
post it.
that one.
Every single group they're
Yeah,
in, they put the same question.
you know. And I'm
Yeah.
like sitting there. I'm sitting there with my bag of popcorn, going, "Oh, what's the answer?" And I just think, how do people actually make an informed decision
Yeah.
from 200 opinions?
Yeah, it's a little
So
overwhelming too. Like you got to read through all that. And then
yeah,
a lot of times people are just like not helpful at all. And they're
no,
just like criticizing your question and just being super off topic or not giving you an answer. Like you'll be like, oh, does anyone know this? And they'll be like, no, I don't. It's like, why did you bother commenting if you don't have an answer? You're literally telling me you don't have the answer. Thank you for wasting my time.
yeah. So I think one top tip, if I can, find a Facebook group which aligns with your values. I think that's really
Mm-hmm.
important. Aligns with your values, where you like the vibe, you like the advice that you're getting, and possibly, it doesn't even have to be mine. But find something that aligns with you and that you enjoy reading and you find valuable and you get ideas and you're able to implement it, and just stick with one group,
Yeah.
because that's going to help you so much when trying to make changes to your business. And if you find yourself like distracted at lunchtime reading a post in another group and you think, what a bitch, or oh my God, I can't believe, delete that group, get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not if it's not helpful for you, if it doesn't serve you, and you've got to be a bit
Mm-hmm.
selfish in that respect. If that group's not serving you, get rid.
Find your
Because
tribe, right? Like you
yeah,
said, you got to connect. It's got to have a vibe. You got to flow with it and find the people that you connect with the most and are most helpful. Like you said, if it's bothering you, it's like gives you bad vibes, then yeah, definitely get rid of
gives
that
you the
group.
ick.
Yeah,
Gives
don't
you
get
the
the ick.
ick. But if you find yourself getting really wound up and angry with the responses, then that's going to
Mm-hmm.
affect how the rest of your day is going to go. It's not worth it. It
Yeah, you
really
don't need
isn't worth
that.
it. So
You don't need
one
that kind of negativity in your life.
no,
Cut off the
and
toxic relationships.
you might believe this, you might not. But when I was in the police, my nickname around the tea table was Eeyore. Oh no, life's rubbish. The police are crap. We don't get paid enough.
Oh.
We're all gonna die. But the power of this is what I loved about mentorship, and this is what I loved about it is having someone on your side that you might do something really simple like change your Facebook banner into a nicely designed Canva banner, and
Mm-hmm.
someone say, "Well done. I really like that. Good work. Fantastic work." And
Yeah.
having someone, because not many people says well done to you these days, do they? They don't say great job. Your
Yeah.
customers don't always do that.
Yeah, especially if you're just by yourself doing your business and you're doing all the things by yourself.
Yeah,
No one's there to be like, man, look at all the hard work you're putting in, and give you
yeah.
your props. You don't get props. You just gotta be your own cheerleader, unfortunately. But yeah, like having that community or having a mentor, whoever it is, just somebody to kind of hype you up is
Yeah.
helpful for sure.
Just say well done. We run a win system, and I was telling my clients how important it is to put your wins in the group, because you do a piece of work, you may change something in your business, or you've been working on
Hmm.
something. You put the win into your Facebook group, you put your win into the community. Everyone comes around and says fantastic, and you get a little dopamine hit.
Yeah.
So you've done the hard work, you've posted the win, and then you get a little bit of reward. And
Hmm.
that really drives me. That's one of my sort of drivers. I always look at
I
the
love
day and go,
that.
what's the win for today? What can I post? And
Yeah.
what can I post to help others as well within my win?
Yeah, I love that. Celebrate your wins, people. Like, it's
Yeah.
so important. You can't just have those goals and then you like do all the hard work, you get to your goal, you reach your goal, and you're like, okay, next goal. I feel like that's definitely something I have issues with is like, like I have all of these things I want to get done and then I get something done and I'm just like, okay, next thing. And I like don't celebrate the fact that
Yeah.
that goal was met or I accomplished something, and you just look towards the next thing, because there's always going to be something else, right? You're always going to have something to work on or something to, some kind of goal to reach. So slowing down and like just taking it, whatever, however it is that you want to celebrate, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just, yeah, acknowledging the fact that there was a win, or, like sharing it with your community, whoever that is, or take yourself out for a drink or something and just cheers to the fact that, I did that, and be proud of yourself is, yeah,
Yeah.
celebrate those wins. I really love that.
And for some people, that win is getting out of bed.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that can be as simple as that. I got out of bed today and I went into work. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to do it, but I did it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
a win. Excellent.
Yeah, they
Good
don't
work.
have to be huge. It can be small wins. Absolutely.
That's it.
I
But
love it.
yeah,
Do we have any questions or anything? Anybody commenting about anything?
I do talk a lot.
So should senior dogs cost more? I think anything should cost more if you're spending more time doing it. If it's a special thing, unless it's just like, you're doing it throughout the day, right? Some people, they'll do the senior dog and they'll do a little bit and then they'll put it away, and then, they bring it back out a little, give it some breaks. You just have to work that in throughout your day. Just depends on how you work, right?
Yeah, and again, by charging more money, we do then start buying back more time. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, we might have more time to work, give that senior dog more time and more care and more attention that it does
Yeah.
deserve. So
It's a
it's
specialty
not,
service.
yeah, and it's not so much should they be charged more on their own, but just the general, if we are charging more money for our services, money starts to buy us time, and then we can start devoting that time to our customers.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if some pet groomers are doing sort of 6 dogs a day because they're in this cycle of I need to make money, so I need to do volume.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could put your prices up and then do 4 dogs a day. How much nicer would your day be? And how much nicer would your experience with those pets be? And then how much nicer would the pets' experience of that, by
Mm-hmm.
spending time with you, be? And then imagine how much time you might have to spend with the owner as well.
Yeah.
So I often do a seminar, and we do a brainstorming session, like the reasons why it's important to charge more. And we start with the dog. So why is it important for the animal that you charge more money? What are the reasons around that? Why is it important for the owner? Why is it important for the business? And then why is it important for the business owner as well? And there's loads of reasons all for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That's
think
probably a whole
people should be
discussion.
charging more for small dogs too. Everybody's like, oh, go off size and this and that. I'm like, it's so much harder to groom a tiny little itty bitty Yorkie than it is like just a medium sized dog. It's like the big dogs and the small dogs are both on the opposite ends of the spectrum, and are, I feel like equally difficult in their own ways. So like people, I don't know, with the pricing, there's so many ways to price with size and time and, breeds and all the different things that you're, doing for the dog with the the upsells and all inclusive. But so yeah, going off of the size was one thing I had never really understood, how people are doing that when it's like so much more complicated to deal with this little baby thing. You can't really, it's so hard to groom tiny little legs. And so yeah, I mean, like, obviously, yeah, I think seniors for sure, just depends on your structure, and if you're a one-on-one dog versus, having those 4 to 6 plus dogs per day, and figuring out how you just have to be happy with the money that you're making at the end of the day. And yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine a Yorkie's more happier to use its teeth than a Labrador as well. So, but
That
when
part, yes.
when you break down, so I try and break things down easily. So when you break down your $80,000 a year turnover, which is obviously before tax and everything,
Hmm.
but if you break that down to $342 a day, well, if you said that's divided over 4 dogs, that's $68 on average per dog. So you might have a Yorkie that comes in at $50, but then you might have another dog that comes in at $70. But if
Hmm.
you look throughout your day and you sit there at the end of it and you've averaged out $68 per dog and you've made your target, then fantastic, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any more?
Just a couple of comments. Megan said, when setting prices, would you recommend charging a different rate for dogs who take longer due to being more difficult or fearful of the grooming process? I think you guys kind of covered all that.
It's just
Oh
time,
yeah,
isn't it?
definitely
Yeah.
fees on difficult dog grooming. And yeah, what sucks sometimes is you're not going to even know until you get the dog on the table, because the owners aren't always going to tell you the truth. They're not going to tell you my dog's difficult, because then you might not take them. They have that worry, even though everybody should be very upfront and telling the groomer what to expect with the dog, so they can be prepared and handle it accordingly. But yeah,
Yeah.
anything that's extra like that should be accounted for.
How would you go
It's
about communicating that to the client that the dog is going to cost more?
Well, if it's a new client, I mean, you just let them know ahead of time, right? You're saying this is what we're estimating the groom to be based off of what we can see once we get started. This is a brand new dog that we have on our table. We have to evaluate it, and there may be additional fees like matting, or the handling fees is really what it's called, the handling fee for a difficult dog, or even senior dog, or special handling fees. And it means that we're gonna it's gonna take us a little bit longer to do the job that it would for another dog that doesn't have those special needs. And so we will let we'll call you as it's happening, and kind of give you a heads up, like, hey, Fifi's being a little bit crazy on the table, and it's taking us a bit more time, so there is going to be a special handling fee, and it's probably going to be an extra hour or so before you can come get them. And just, I feel like communication is so important in all aspects of business. But yeah, like
yeah.
communicating with your customers and letting them know what to expect, and not just be like, they show up and be like, oh, by the way, we're going to charge you an extra $150, and they're blindsided. And that's not good business. Treat people
No.
the way you want to
Yes.
be treated.
Like ambushing them at the till. I sort of say I don't know if they do this in the States, but many of the clients I work with are starting to do meet and treats or meet and greets. So
Mm-hmm.
before they even, so this is all part of the onboarding process. So it's sort of business flight a little bit, I suppose. Your onboarding, what's your customer onboarding process? So for
Mm-hmm.
us, it's like we might get an inquiry come in from Facebook saying, "Hi, how much is a cockapoo?" Because we all get those, don't we? We all get those. Hundreds of groomers will just go, "Hi, it's $68 or whatever." But no, that's not our process. So our process is straight away. It's like, "What's your phone number? We'll give you a ring." And
Yeah.
that's our process. And we'll talk them through the grooming experience. We'll talk them through the price and everything on the phone. Whereas some of my clients, and I learn a lot from my clients as well, and we introduce it into our business as well. The learning goes both ways. And Tasha, she's been grooming for probably 30 years and instructs as well. And she did a fantastic lesson about meet and greets. And no one gets an appointment without a meet and greet. No one gets a price without a meet and greet. And in fact, the very first appointment that she does with that dog is at a higher price anyway. And she just explains that, well, it's us getting to know your dog. We're going to spend more
Mm-hmm.
time. I don't understand. Like, people say we're going to do your dog in an hour and a half, and you can have your
Yeah.
dog back. You know,
And you've never met
maybe
the
as a
dog
dog.
before ever, and you
No,
have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
no. But Tasha's like, right. I've never met your dog before. Your dog's never met me before. So we're going to give you an appointment. Your dog's going to come in. We're going to work together. It is going to be more money because it's going to be more time, and the dog's getting to know the salon, and we're getting to know your dog. But then once we start to get to know your dog and we get onto a schedule, then that price will start to reduce as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really good way of doing it. And
Yeah.
you get that meet and greet, you get that feel for the customer. It gives you that opportunity to speak to the customer about your add-ons and things that you do for your pets and your customers and stuff. It gives you the opportunity to say no. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do your dog. It might be that the customer turns up to their meet and greet a bit late, or they're a bit flustered, or you just get that vibe
It's
that they're
like an
going to be
interview.
fussy. Yeah,
You're just
that's your
interviewing them.
process.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a client today, and she said, "I'm getting a lot of inquiries, but a lot of them want to know the price before the meet and greet." And I just said, "Look, Gemma, your process is inquiry, meet and greet, price. They're stepping outside of that process. They're
Mm-hmm.
failing the qualification. They're not
Yeah.
people that you want to work with. That's that simple. Just
Yeah.
say no." If you can't be bothered to come in for a meet and greet with me, to get to know me and I'll get to know your dog, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah,
Boundaries. That's that boundary right there, isn't it?
absolutely. I love that whole meet and greet idea. I've heard people say that they do like, let them know, oh, give us at least 15 minutes before your appointment, come in early so we can spend some time kind of going over our policies and everything else like that. And just kind of meet your dog and, get a little introduction going. And like, but I do like having it be like a totally separate time slot for that, because you might not even want to put them on your schedule at that point. You'll know. So I like that idea of like separating it. And what a great way to like give a first impression, right? Like you said
Yeah.
about, I'm the expert. This is my process. You come in, and that's impressive, for somebody, because not everybody does that. And so very few people probably do that. And so having that impression of like being that new customer and going in, and this is my process, and they, you have that time to kind of talk to them about what you do and evaluate the dog and set expectations for them, because maybe their dog is completely matted and you're going to have to shave it, and you need to explain and show them why, and like talk about what happens after that, because maybe you're just that person that I refuse to do matted dogs consistently. Like you have to come in on a schedule. Like you have that opportunity to talk to them as a human, and like set that standard of, I'm the professional here and you're going to be listening to me and this is what I'm doing, and that's just the way it
No,
is.
that's it. Know, like, and trust as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if we businessify it as well, that's a new word, businessify it. People have a want and people have a need. Cockapoos need grooming. Labradors, they want them groomed because they stink quite often and they're really hairy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a cockapoo owner and you bang out loads of Facebook messages to pet groomers saying, I've got a cockapoo, how much do you charge? And then some ignore you because they're overwhelmed and they're too busy. Some like fire back a few prices and say, it's $60, whatever. You're going to start looking at the lowest priced one going. You don't, and then one says, oh, can I have your phone number so we can chat it through? You're like, oh, okay, that's a bit different. Now, depending on that cockapoo owner, if they're like the caring owner that you probably want to work with, I would like to think that they're going to fire back their phone number, and then you can start that process and get to know them and make sure they're the right fit for your business. That's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Not everyone is your customer.
That's it. Don't need everyone. There's plenty
You do
to
not
go
need
around.
everyone. Yes. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, we actually have some questions about the meet and greet. Sarah mentioned that she does a meet and greet day of appointment, right? And because they have an application process.
Yeah.
So she wants to know, do you charge for the meet and greet? How many do you schedule a week? And do you work longer hours, working that into a day? You're already busy. But from what I understood, the meet and greet is the groom, correct?
Well, no, not for everyone. So it could be a 10-minute. So it depends on your salon setup. So if you're a multiple groomer salon, you might have dogs coming in at, say, 9 o'clock in the morning that are going straight into the bath, and you may be free to be able to do like a couple of meet and greets that morning. So you probably want to schedule it into your diary. The extra charge is kind of what I was talking about. You can build that into your prices for your initial groom. If you get loads of like no shows, then maybe that might come back to like the qualification of the people, but before the actual appointment. But schedule it into your diary, and again, let's stop thinking time is money, and let's start thinking money buys time. So if you're actually putting your prices up and you can afford to cut down to 4 dogs a day, well, and you're doing 5 dogs, say, you've got time. You've now got time to start onboarding better clients, and better clients that are going to start paying you more money. Do you see the cycle is going up rather than a race to the bottom?
Yeah. Better to spend that like 10 to 15 minutes just onboarding someone and knowing that they're the right fit than actually, and doing it for free, than actually scheduling them in and wasting your time and realizing this is a bad fit when you could have been spending that time with a customer that's going to be who you want to actually have as a customer. And then like you're like you said, you're adding on kind of that initial groom fee. So if they do stay your customer, then you'll make that back on that
Oh
first
yeah.
groom, right? And then, ongoing, if they continue to go with you, and if you don't charge them and you realize this is a bad fit, you just dodged a bullet and didn't spend too much time doing that. So yeah, I would definitely say just a free group, come in, free consultation, and then talk about how that first groom will be a little bit more expensive because we need to spend that extra time. And yeah, I like that process for sure.
But also, how many people listening have looks? If these people listening look at their diary next week, I bet they can find someone in that diary that their heart sinks when they see the dog's booked in. And sometimes, why do we book the three dogs in at the same time? They're all paying the bums, or their owners are paying the bums, and you're like, why do I do it to myself?
It's Mercury retrograde happening in your schedule of all the dogs you don't want on the same day.
But this is down to us as business owners, and this is stuff that we can change if we get our process right at the very beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good foundation. Anything else?
Someone is asking, they have a full-time job in groom part-time. Essentially, how can I price to make my grooming my full-time career?
Yeah.
To work up to that. Yeah, the transition.
There's going to be a transition. I've helped a few people with this, actually. Well, first of all, take your salary, and hopefully you're not like a CEO of Apple, because you might not do that on dog grooming. But take the salary that you're earning, and then do that calculation, work it backwards. How much is it per month? How much is it per week? How much is it per day? What do I need to price my dogs at? Now, at some point, depending on how flexible your employer is, and I don't know the rules in the US, but you could either start to reduce your hours at work and increase your grooming hours. Obviously, that's obvious, but you're going to have to start marketing your business. And at some point, you're going to have to put a line in the sand where you're saying, December.
Yeah.
And you've got to get ahead of your diary. You've got to get it booked in. You can set up waiting lists on Google Forms or Drop Forms, so you get expression of interest, set up some waiting lists. But at some point, you've got to say, right, 1st of December, I am booking from the 1st of December, and try and book a full diary so that you can resign from your job in 1st of November, and then you're up and running. Or an alternative might be, depending on your circumstances, if you can save 1 or 2 months' salary, screw it away into a pot, so you've got a buffer ready, waiting for you, then maybe you can, it's a bit of a cliff, isn't it? You sort of jump off the cliff into your business. But
yeah, rip that Band-Aid off at some point.
At some point, you're going to have to draw that line. So I've got experience of this, because obviously I left a full-time policing career, and I was institutionalized, and I'd never been self-employed before. I even asked my mentor, like, how do you get paid when you're self-employed? Because I had a paycheck every month on the same day. Yeah. And he was like, well, you just do the same. And I pay myself on the same day, But what I did was I came out of our pension, which meant that freed up £400 a month, which then meant I could give up one day at 10 hours a week and earn the same amount of money. So I used that 10 hours to start accelerating my business and getting more customers. And then I could just get to that point where, well, one, I was going to be very rude to my bosses, and that wasn't going to go down so well. But I could see that although I didn't have all the work there, I could see the potential. Yeah. And actually working in the police and doing the shift work and turning up, having that negative mindset, being really depressed and unhappy was holding my business back, because I had that potential to go. So I was very happy that I had the support of my mentors, and he was like, worst that can happen, you can go back to the police. And I was like, that's not happening. This is going to work, Yeah. So I never said that there was a cliff edge which I just jumped off into business. I transitioned into business, and I could see that the potential was there to make the money. And pet groomers are busy. There's so much work out there. So maybe over the next few months, whilst working out your exit plan, really start ramping up that marketing of your business. Facebook, website, Instagram, Google My Business.
That's for
flyers.
anyone starting a business. Really, is you should be
Yeah,
promoting it before you're open, getting the hype
yeah,
up, getting the word out, getting a wait list so that you have people ready that you can call as soon as you open. Don't like do everything to open and then just wait around for people to find you. Like, you should be promoting yourself far in advance of you opening. Absolutely. And then, yeah, that transition is, I like that. Like, take it one step at a time, maybe like downshift just like once before you hit, rip that Band-Aid off or jump off
yeah.
the cliff, and yeah, make it so you're not so like panicked over like what's going to happen. But yeah, I like that. Definitely prepare and get the word out, as long as it's not going to hurt, as long as your job knows and you're
Yeah,
not going to out
obviously
yourself.
it's very dependent, isn't it? On I could hide behind a business page where it didn't look like me posting and stuff, or I could hide behind my wife's Facebook page with the business,
Mm-hmm.
or saving the money, saving that 2 months worth of salary, and then going, I've got to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
When my wife left veterinary nursing, she set up the business and then took a part-time job mucking out horses. And again, as the grooming picked up, she just dropped her hours. She's never been like, got a really fit, that job,
Yeah.
mucking out horses. But and then as the grooming picked up, which it did really quickly, she just said goodbye to the part-time job. So there's loads of options. It's just
Yeah.
action. Taking action is the biggest thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Any more?
Catherine is asking, is it possible for a groomer to cut out doodles from the book entirely? I find them to be the least enjoyable for me personally, and find I'm earning better on other breeds.
No brainer.
Yeah, why not?
I'm a bit blunt. Your business, your rules.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. You make the rules. If you say no big dogs at all, no dogs over, 65
yeah.
pounds, then that's your rule, and they have to find a new groomer. That just is what
I
it
got.
is.
I have a client who I remember she messaged one day and just went, "I really hate cockapoos," and put their price up by like £30 overnight. Still gets clients, but she likes them a bit
Yeah.
more now. She gets
Yeah,
paid a bit more money, but
as long as you're getting what you feel okay making, that's a good way to go about it. I felt that way about a lot of doing, graphic design or whatever. Like, if there's
yeah.
something I don't want to do, I'm going to charge them like 2 or 3 times as much and just hope they say no. But if they do say yes, then at least I'm making good money and I don't feel so bad about it.
But I think for Catherine, I think one thing that is important to know, and no doubt her poodle doodle owners love what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've learned over the last couple of years with helping pet groomers put their prices up. We quite often use pricing as a way to get rid of people that we don't
Yeah.
want to work with, but it doesn't work. So I think, we owe it to our customers to maybe a bit honest, or it might be that tomorrow from the 29th of August, I no longer take on new doodles. And as the doodles just disappear off my books, mission accomplished. Or we have
Yeah.
that conversation with Sarah down the road who loves doodles and say, like, I really want to get rid of my book of doodles. Can I
Mm-hmm.
recommend them to go to you? And,
Yeah.
get rid
They
of them.
exist. It's shocking,
Yeah.
but there are people out there that absolutely love doing doodles, and
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
there's a doodle specialist. There's all this
Yeah.
doodle queen. There's lots of doodle people out there. So if you don't like them, it's probably somebody down the road that will take them off of your hands.
That's it. And then just think of a life, like a future life, where you look at your diary and you just think, oh, my hands aren't going to ache, my arms aren't going to be sore, my back's going to be great, and I'm going to enjoy my customers. That's
Yeah,
what it's
you're
about.
excited
What's,
about it.
what's the point of running your own business if you're doing things you don't want to do?
Absolutely, none. Might as well work for someone then and have
Yeah,
less stress, right?
that's it. So yeah, definitely cut out doodles, especially if you're making more
Mm-hmm.
money on other
Yeah,
breeds. Take action again.
yeah. Any last questions?
Yeah, this is a marketing question,
We're
actually.
loving you.
Um, any marketing ideas to increase business for new groomer that's hired? I've been solo for 5 years and have always had a full client list. Now I'm accepting new clients for new groomer, and I feel like it's harder now to get new clients.
You're saying they added a new groomer to their salon?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a new groomer's been added to the salon, and they're having trouble getting new clients to go to that groomer. So do you guys have any marketing advice for them?
Do you want to take this, or you got it?
All right, don't want to tread on your toes.
No, we're both on this. So I mean,
Yeah.
for me personally, I would say if you're a salon and you're going to have multiple groomers, I would prefer people to not know what groomer you're getting. Like you get booked and you come in, and this is a business. This isn't individual groomers. If you want that, then start a salon suites, and you have your individual groomers. You don't have employees. They're just renting a booth from you, and they can do their own thing and worry about their own scheduling. But if you're a business, you should be sharing your clients, or maybe somebody has this person more, but another day you're too busy and they need to get booked, so you go to this other, you go to the other groomer. But they should never know who's grooming your dog, and you should have a very standard set bar as to how well these dogs are groomed. Like, you should be hiring somebody that you trust to do the grooms just as good as you. Or if you're overseeing them, then you just have a moment and you're like, oh, clean this up. You let them know. You kind of art direct the whole groom that they're doing, and train them to match your standards for your business. And yeah, I wouldn't be worrying about booking a specific groomer. I'd be just general business, like booking more clients.
Love it. I said exactly the same to a lady this morning. It's like,
Nice.
So my pet grooming salon's A to Z animal care, and when they book in their dog, they book in with A to Z animal care. Now, Natasha might bath the dog. Emma might start the haircut, and then maybe go on a lunch break, and then Morgan might finish it off. Or maybe Morgan and Emma do the haircut together. And this helps you in the future when, let's say, Morgan went away and had a baby last year. So A to Z still did the dogs. We didn't have that. Oh, Morgan always does them. Oh, when's Morgan back? Or Chloe left our business a few years ago. Well, if Chloe's not there, I'm not going to use your business anymore. So that's a fantastic, teamwork within the business. But it doesn't. I suppose it doesn't really. Your person that answers the questions going, yeah. Well, how do I market it? So, but yeah, it's how. I suppose we may have gone from one of the issues pet groomers have is they're very, very busy. They booked up 100%, so they neglect the marketing side of it, don't they? And we no longer do Facebook. So Facebook wasn't touched for like 6 months. So we've lost the algorithms, we've lost the consistency. So it might be that because you're so booked up, you may need to start looking at reviving your social media presence. And then look at also the traditional stuff like refer friends. Tell all your customers you've got space. Ask them
we
to
got a
bring
new
their
groomer.
friends.
We got more time. Don't worry about losing your spot on our schedule now. You can refer your friends and tell people that we have more slots available.
Do cat grooming. Bring another revenue stream into your business. If you've got multiple groomers in there and you've got a separate room, well then potentially you could be having some cat grooming going on, or multiple grooming going on, and a different revenue stream. So remember, groomers are very blinkered on dog haircuts. Let's start to widen our horizon. And if you can't get haircuts at the moment, advertise for bathing, advertise for nail trimming, ear cleaning, stuff like that, because it's all revenue coming in, isn't it? So you can still keep them busy. But again, leaflet drops, networking with other businesses locally like dog walkers, networking with other groomers that are oversubscribed. They might want to be pushing their work out, working on your search engine optimization for your website. I hope you've got a website, Google My Business, all that sort of stuff. There's so much we can do with marketing. So much we can do.
Absolutely.
That's
we'll have to have you on another time to kind of do
Yeah.
a deep dive on all of that. There's so much we can continue talking about, but I would love everybody to find you on your Facebook group. Say that again. What is the group's name on Facebook?
So we got Dog Grooming Business Help and Support.
And you have a podcast as well?
I've kept it easy. Dog Grooming Business Help and Support podcast. YouTube is under my name, Bill Betts. And then obviously we've got Pet Passion to Profit Facebook page.
And .com. So if you're interested in that, you can find the petpassiontoprofit.com website with all the information on the coaching and everything you got going on there and how to join. But definitely join that Facebook group and ask your questions and kind of get a little sneak peek into what that, that coaching could be like. You guys have a special private Facebook group, you said, too, as well as that WhatsApp for the members, for your coaching members.
For the program members. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there. And you said you charge like a lifetime fee for this?
Yeah. It was an 18-month pricing point on the program, but I had members coming up to that point, and I was like, you know what, I love that community so much. I reached out to my mentor, and he was like, grandfather rights, give them, I love having them with me. So, and they help
for the long haul.
Well.
You're not dropping
they're stuck with me. They're stuck with me.
You sign on and you're in it for life now. So yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for spending some time talking about all the things and business stuff. I love what you're doing and that you're building a community for the, entrepreneurs in the dog grooming industry around the world now. And it's so needed. And I hope more people utilize it and do more of that, because it's lonely out there being that entrepreneur for sure. So having that guidance and support and just connection is so important. So I love what you're doing, and I'm glad we got to spend some time and hopefully have you on again in the future and talk a little bit more in depth about all of that. And appreciate you.
Yeah, any topic. As you can see, I like to talk. So thank you for having me, and thank you for listening as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Have a great night out over there. And we'll talk soon. All right.
Take care.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.